Hey guys, welcome to today's episode of Common Man Podcast. That was super radio announcy voice, but I was just practicing it for future episodes,
You're getting better.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Welcome everybody. I got my buddy joining us for round 2, Corey Shore.
Hey, what's up?
Glad you're here. Love you very much.
So glad to be here.
I went back and watched the end of our first episode. Did you?
I've watched it, but I haven't watched it this year.
And so I want to pick up right where we left off.
Good.
And it was talking about Mr. Sandpaper himself. We don't know his name. We're not going to mention his name. But there was a guy at rehab or at Bridge.
At the Bridge Center, yeah.
That was the most abrasive person in your life, but yet became a very important and person that you care about now.
The most important.
The most important. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
And so can you jump back into that? Is that like too hard to jump back in?
No, that's pretty easy. So, I mean, I think in life, I think the reason I share that is sometimes God puts people in our lives to help break something off of us or to help mold us into something different and new that he needs us to be. The word sandpaper is a good word to use. A lot of people like to talk about clay and molding and things like that. But, that don't seem as abrasive as what it felt in the moment.
What was so abrasive? It's just a guy trying to be a guy. Like what was he bothering? How was he bothering you?
It was probably just everything growing up that I considered a certain way. It might have been just like me. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, who's to say in the moment? But, he just did a lot of things that irked all these things in me. And I think the Lord was trying to break off this selfishness, self-seeking, but most of all, me being inconsiderate of other people and where they might be and where they might be coming from. But also just a deep dive into myself, because when you get into the real world, you don't always get to pick who you're going to be around at work or, sit beside at church or, wherever you may be. You just don't never, family members, you don't get to pick your family either. And so I think it's just a big learning lesson on how to endure well, but also just how to be able to pause and pray and process through moments.
Yeah.
And, not react. And so Corey has always been
I wrote that down too.
Very reactive. And so I think this was the first step in breaking that habit. This thing that I had always done as far back as I can remember, even being a child, just being super reactive to a feeling, to this indicator light. Like an indicator light on the car, says check oil and, I blow up. You know what I'm saying? Like, so this feeling would come and they always went from a feeling that I probably couldn't name to anger. And so it was just very quick for me. And, and it served me well in sports and things like that. My mom would actually make me mad on purpose because I played better mad. And so she would do things to, once again, this generational stuff that we don't realize is going to affect us later on down the road, shows up later on in life. And I was just super, super a reactive person, and I needed to learn how to pause and pray and process and then be able to respond well, respond differently, and also learn these feelings that I'm feeling and be able to name them so I can get under the hood and discover why I'm feeling this feeling. So this was, I think, the first, I didn't know all that in that moment during that 4 months at the Bridge Center, but I think this was God's first step into working me into the next steps coming down the road, the next seasons that only he knew that were coming. So he sticks me with this guy, and we end up bunk mates 3 months out of the 4 months. I get away for a week, and he puts us right back together, and that's just how that works, I think.
And so like in the arc, from then to now, where was that in the arc, and what transpired after? Well, in the healing arc.
Well, I mean, this is the beginning for me. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I had no idea what I was doing. God did. And so, like, being able to look back and identify these things today, I get to help and teach other men, like, hey, when you're going through this, you know, but I wish I wish I could tell you I was that smart in the moment. And like, I knew that was what was going on.
Had you confessed powerlessness by then?
Oh, well,
because I said healing, and I actually am like, it's not a healing arc. It's actually a confession of powerlessness arc. Like confessing power, getting up to a place where you first confess powerlessness is the first step to needing a savior.
Yeah, it's actually the first step of AA too. So they go.
Yeah,
it's amazing how this truth, this hard truth,
yes,
is something that we have to accept and surrender to every day. You know, when I first met him, I hadn't gone through any steps. You know what I mean? So this is my bunk mate from day one, and you know, the first few days probably went all right, but you know,
once you went to Bridge, kind of begrudgingly, I don't need a rehab.
Yeah, well, no, yeah. In my heart of hearts, I didn't. You know, God knew I needed to be there. You know, I didn't think I needed any kind of help. I thought I could do it all on my own or with God. You know, by this time I had truly just cried out to Jesus, but he knew way better than I knew, and he knew what it'd take to get me there. So he did those things to get me to the Bridge Center. You know, which looked like a facing 20 years in prison. So you know, that's kind of what got me there, but. It's funny what God will start doing in our lives. And so I try to teach today just having eyes to see these things and not react to them.
Mm-hmm.
But I wish I could tell you I didn't react to them, but I was very, very, through the process over the 4 months, very reactive. Luckily, there was people around me to help me and guide me and lead me through all those feelings and emotions and reactions.
I don't know if I've developed an ability to stop myself in moments when I feel like I want to react. Have you developed that ability to stop?
Yes, very well. So that's been 4 years in the making. You know, and have I gotten it right every time? No, but I'd say, you know, I'm probably like 99% these days. You know, for the most part, I get it right. But it's because I've been practicing it for 4 years. This pause.
How would you like explain that? And what do you do when you've been impulsed?
Yeah. So when I've been provoked, I like these P words for some reason, provocated, provoked, you know, something on the inside, something's happened,
right?
Something's perturbed me. Like, let's just stick with the P's for a few. And so all I know is to pause now. It used to be all I knew was to react.
Right.
To whatever it was. And I skipped that first feeling and just went straight to anger. And that could turn into violence, but it would just usually be anger.
Right.
And it was usually to get what I wanted for the situation to work out how I thought it should work out. The way that I portrayed it in my mind. And I think that this dude should be doing this. This girl should be doing that. Mom should be doing this, or whatever it was. However, I thought this is how I would react to try to get what I wanted.
And so you would do anger, and also maybe would you define it as like I would do strength?
Yeah,
as my first response to. It
would look like a lot of things. If anger didn't work, it'd look like something different. It was always trying something different to get what I wanted.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, it was about me.
Yeah.
And so, but once again, let's go back to what I practiced. So what I started practicing was this pausing.
Right.
Even before I speak, sometimes a pause might last a whole day.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Sometimes, you know what I mean? It's just, hey, I'll get back with you tomorrow through a text or whatever. I'm not going to have this conversation right now. I don't have to say that out loud. I don't have to say that to that person. But, you know, there's different ways I've found to pause pause that moment.
And so like in that situation you just brought up, would that be like my feelings just got hurt, or I'm having strong feelings, or I'm feeling reactionary?
All it could be any of those.
Any of those.
It could be anything like that, but there's something inside of me that's been disturbed.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? Like, and it
you feel like jumping.
It could even be for the good. It could be,
of course,
this sounds real good to me. I want to jump on board.
Right. You do it then as well?
I've started doing that as well. That's because awesome, I got in a lot of trouble saying yes, and next thing I know, I'm getting to these moments where I've overbooked, put stuff on the calendar. You know, I'm just got so much going on, and then all of a sudden there is no Sabbath, there is no rest, there is none of these things that I'm supposed to be doing to recharge my batteries and spend time with the Lord and live that life. And I just did that back in the end of last year. I overstacked my calendar, and next thing I know, 6 weeks gone by, and I ain't taking a Sabbath. You know what I mean? Like, it's just go, 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 because then you go in 6 days a week, and you go to church, you serve at church for all day, and and you go to a meeting that night. Next thing I know, that's not Sabbath either. You know what I mean?
Next thing you know, it's Friday to Friday.
Right. So I'm learning to just not to pause and then start praying. And so like the pause and then start praying, and then you start processing everything. And a lot of times,
wait.
Yep.
What's the prayer look like?
It can look different every time. Depends on what's going on.
Okay. How would you create a prayer for that utility?
But let me break it down real quick. The simplest thing, two things I ask for every day is probably the beginning of every prayer when it comes to pausing.
Okay.
Wisdom and discernment.
Okay.
Praying for wisdom and discernment.
So you might just say, you just might be thinking that prayer and praying that for all afternoon.
Yeah. And then start processing. And for me, processing is when I start running my mind through the steps, when I start trying to, what's happened?
Right.
Who am I mad at? What fears cropped up? Whatever it might be, you know what I mean? Or who have I harmed?
Right.
What's the situation? What went down? Which one of these God-given instincts have been affected? And where am I at in this? Am I being selfish? Am I being self-seeking? Am I being dishonest? Am I being inconsiderate? Which that's probably the one that hits most for me, is this inconsiderateness and the fear. And for me, a lot of times it's the same fear. It's this fear of failure. I'm operating out of performance. I'm operating out of all these things, all these weird little ways that fear of failure will rear its ugly head in my life. But the prayer is pretty simple. It's just for wisdom and discernment and process. And then I'm going to pick up a phone and I'm going to call somebody. I'm probably going to call more than one person. I'm probably going to call multiple people.
And talk it through.
Say, look, I've sat down.
That's so good.
I've wrote these few things down. This is what's happened. This is the feelings I felt.
Call a friend.
This is what I wanted to do. This is what my first thought was. And telling them,
don't do that.
I think
that's what your friend gets to say.
Well, I think I've said this before. I usually try to never do my first thought when feeling anything, because it's usually very just selfish and self-centered and about me, and usually not very with lined up with what Jesus would want me to do or think. And so, I'm telling on it, man. So now I'm talking through this with some other people. And then through that process, I usually get a good way to respond.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of how that tracks through. And
I usually get a good way to respond.
Yeah.
That was way better than the first impulse.
It's not even in the same realm.
It's like come from a different human.
Absolutely. And I think that's what happens when we start, walking with, having an everyday relationship with Jesus.
And so that just the introduction of pausing and not trusting your first reaction was kind of was the shocker reveal that started in Bridge.
Yeah, it started with sandpaper.
Sorry, with sandpaper.
Yeah, it started with a cat I call Sandpaper, and I love him very much today. And he's still walking his thing out and doing well, and
praise the Lord.
It's cool to see what God's doing in his life and the calling on his life. Just like it blows my mind every day when I wake up and the calling God's putting on my life. So, I get floored when I get to think through all that kind of stuff and how far God's brought us. So,
yeah. What do you think were some of the wake up truths that really shocked you or made you feel weepy, that you needed desperately, you were starving to hear?
While at the Bridge Center?
Yeah.
That's a huge list. We could probably talk about it for 3 or 4 hours, but let's just hit some of the main points. I mean, the first one I think we talked about just a minute ago, powerlessness.
Okay.
This fact that I'm powerless, not just over drugs and alcohol. I'm powerless over all kind of things. I'm actually powerless over about everything other than my behavior and me. And even then, in a way, I'm powerless in my own will. And so
in your own will.
And so I think the biggest wake up moment was I thought I went to rehab because I had a problem with drugs and alcohol.
Right.
Come to find out, I had a Corey problem. I was a common denominator in all my crap. Was me. And so come to find out that I was the problem. And that I was just this selfish, prideful, reactive dude, jacked up dude. And so I think that was probably the first like super awakening, because I truly believed when I went that I was going to go get fixed for drugs and alcohol, and and I just wasn't going to drink and drug no more, and all the world was going to be grand, and I was just going to be able to step back into the real world and just live what I would consider as what most people live normally.
Right.
We'll just put a flat line.
This is going to activate me. I'm going to keep doing everything I've ever done. It just doesn't involve drugs and alcohol anymore. And then all of a sudden you're like,
yeah,
I don't trust myself at all.
And I didn't.
And that's what fuels drugs and alcohol, or all the other stuff.
Yeah. But my behavior, my selfishness, and these things, and just how I dealt with problems. You know what I mean?
How
and
you dealt with,
and what habits I had learned. And so what's funny is, so that's probably the first like big thing that went off. And the next thing is that there was a solution to this problem. And, I just didn't know if I believed it. And you see these dudes walking around talking about they got 20 years, 15 years, 10 years, and they got all this joy on their face and all this peace in their life. And you're like, they're full of it.
Yeah.
Like they're full of, crap. And this is a show. Because my whole life had been a show.
Because, you just said that they're fake.
They're fake like I'm fake.
Yeah.
Yeah, because my whole life had been a show to get what I wanted, so they're just putting on a show to get whatever they want.
Yeah.
So
what's their angle?
Yeah, what's their angle?
Their sobriety is only there because they got an angle.
Yes, correct. And so that's just old thinking. It's old thinking, but so it was the fact that there was a solution, and actually there was joy, and there was this peace, and there was a love that I didn't know. And I don't know if I'd ever known. I truly don't know if I ever had loved anybody. I'd like to tell you that I love my mom and daddy, and I love my sisters, and I would fight anybody over them and all these things and that crazy. But I loved them because they loved me. I loved them because they did things for me. I loved them because they met needs. But there was a solution to my insanity. And so like this was the next big eye-opening thing for me, that there actually is a solution for my insanity, and that these dudes who love me for no other reason but to love me and the desire to help me was the next big epiphany, I would say, there. And so with those two things, I think, the next thing was I had to go do some work, man. And it's like, read this book and, get a sponsor and start working these steps. And so, when I got there, I had worked the first 3 steps, but I reworked them. But, at the end of the day, I had come to a point where I knew I was broken. I was hopeless, that I couldn't do life anymore without Jesus. And I knew the only person that could help me was Jesus. And so sitting in a car one morning, crying out to Jesus and just, fully just breaking down. And that's really the last day I have used or anything of that nature. I knew I had, surrendered then. And then the fact that I walked through the doors at the Bridge Center was the next point for me, knowing I had surrendered. And I was willing to at least go and try something different. And so it took me a few weeks to get into the routine up there, but like jumping in the work side of things and stuff was easy because that's what I've always done. I love to stay busy and work and those kind of things, and because it looked good, performance,
right?
And and then
and it gave you what you wanted.
Yes, correct.
Scratch the itch of me.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely, and. So, those are the first 2 big, epiphanies in there, the 2 things that really like, wow, okay. And so then you jump into the work, man. And
how would you describe, like, you just said love. But I mean, I love pizza. What is love? What's Christian love? Why is it different?
I don't even know if I want to put the word Christian love on it. What is the love that only God can give you?
What's the love that only God can give you?
It's loving somebody and not needing love back.
Why would you do that?
Because he loved me so much, he sent his only son. And the fact that he chased me, and he never left me. I say chased me. The fact is, he never left me. I can go back through my life and just see all these things when I was doing anything but loving him. He was loving me.
Like what?
There's been accidents. There's been car accidents. There has been.
How was that love?
Saving me? Well, in the moment, it didn't feel like love. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In the moment, it felt like, I wish I never woke up. I wish I had just died. When you wake up off a
But he kept you through it.
ventilator, and you've been on there for over a month, and you wake up and you don't even look human.
Right.
And the pain. I wasn't in pain before I woke up. And the pain before, the ventilator. Also, even you go back.
What the heck do people go to when they don't have that? When they're on the ventilator or they're like that, or somebody's died? What the heck do they have? If they don't have God's, if like what the heck gets people through?
I don't know if people do get through.
Can you imagine?
Yeah, because I woke up angry, and
You woke up angry.
The next 10 years was me angry at God because I had this wrong perspective of God. I had this earthly perspective of God that
Like, this isn't fair.
that he punished me.
He's punishing me.
That I had been punished for the life I was living, just like any good father would do. And like growing up in church, this is the perspective that I gained. And I'm not saying that this is what they were teaching. This is just what I took from it.
Right.
And this is what I heard. And I'm sure it was said to me, but at the end of the day, like, I thought I was being punished, and deservedly so, because of the lifestyle I had been living. Just like the warrant for my arrest, I tell the guys all the time that this was the love letter that God sent me that has radically changed my life.
It's weird how the suffering post son or daughtership becomes the love of the father. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
it's wild.
I wish I could say that I had eyes to see it when it's going on.
I think you do, but I think I did. I don't know, but there's still like a death living that you do, like Walking Dead, out of the identity of that conversation that the Spirit's having with you. Like that's how probably I would describe it. I wasn't receiving the identity of the invitation or something. I don't know. It's confusing, man.
Well, I wasn't walking in it. But and to go back to the love thing, like I love, I love my family because I always got something from them.
Yeah.
The way I love them today, I don't expect anything from them. I don't need anything from them.
Right.
I don't want anything from them other than to just love them.
Yeah.
Anybody
and you look for ways for them to feel love from you.
Yeah, I try to be intentional.
Yeah.
I try to be intentional to show love.
Yeah. It heals your ability to give to people without conditions.
Yeah, and it's also helped with the kindness, the considerateness,
the real authentic. Yeah,
and just being intentional in that, and always trying to put myself where they are at. Always trying to.
The Spirit's guiding that.
Only the Spirit can guide that.
I know.
Because if Corey's guiding that, it looks like selfishness, self-seeking. Being a performer. The hypocrite, you know what I mean? And like it says in Matthew, hypocrite, that's what I was for most of the time. I was this actor, this performer on the corner, you know what I mean, of the road, trying to put on a performance. To myself, to get what I wanted from whatever I needed, you know what I mean? I was the director, the actor, the stage set, the playwright, all the things, you know what I mean, to try to get people to do what I wanted them to do. And so when you realize that, then you're like, oh my gosh, I'm jacked up.
oh my gosh, what the heck am I doing this for?
Yeah, and you know, and so it comes back from fears that you know, it can come back from generational things, from life, and then it can come from fears, from trauma, all these things that's happened in my life that I've twisted a little bit, you know what I
Yeah.
mean, to get relief.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
all these things had kind of worked, sort of worked, and then the first time I drank, it was like, this works better than anything I've tried before.
All that stuff just turned off.
And so, and then I, you know, alcohol and cocaine became involved. And then I really thought I had arrived. And I was like, this is really it. And so, you know, that's kind of how that came about. And then it just goes through 30 years of different things, always being something, but just different things along the way. And, but it goes back to trying to, substitute God and get this quick relief. But God wants to give us this forever relief, this forever freedom. He wants us to walk in a peace that passes all understanding. He wants us to have joy that nobody can take or nothing can take.
Nothing can take.
And also wants us to walk around with love him. He replaced my heart of stone. He gave me a heart of flesh. And now, because the way he loves me, it makes me want to go out and love others. And so it's changed my perspective a lot, but it's also just changed the way that I respond to people. And, you know, do I always get it right? Absolutely not. But, you know, I'm batting a lot better than I have ever before on that batting average of getting it right. And that comes through practice. So we started talking about all these P's. It kind of got here. So, you know, we're talking about pausing, praying, processing, picking up a phone and calling somebody. And the last P, and the most important, is practicing these new habits, these new ways, these new thoughts. You know, it's crazy to say, but I had to practice a new way of thinking.
Yeah.
And that comes with spending time with Jesus, spending time in the Word, going to radical men's groups, going to Friday morning Bible studies, going to Thursday evening Bible studies,
You got to get washed up in it.
That's it.
You got to get washed
And
up
get stretched.
in it. You got to get stretched. You got to. The more you hear, I think too, like the more, a really easy way to access more wisdom is to hear from people that are in the process of healing and learning about powerlessness. Hearing from them.
I find it the best way for me.
Me too, man.
I love being around men's groups. It's just where I feel like God's got me.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm involved in, I probably go to at least 4 different men's groups every week. And then the radical men's group once a month.
It's almost like we were designed for fellowship.
100%. We were designed for community.
Around the goal of like beautiful, healthy, adventurous living.
Yeah, and the other part of it is,
the Father.
I think that, you know, in repentance and in forgiving and in confessing and all this, a lot of us like to do it just with God.
Yeah.
But I think there's another step there.
I do too.
And I think that is involving, you know, if you're a man, involving another man or 2 or 3. For me, I have a few men in my life that I meet with every day.
What happens? Why is that? Why do you think that?
Well, I think there's a few things. I think that's kind of where true freedom starts to break, is when we just start telling on things to another human being.
And to take us back into your bridge walk, that was probably an integral part.
Yeah. So day 1, you start doing what they call awakening and retirement. And so, you know, awakening can look a little different for everybody. They got a set, you know, in the big book. It's a couple paragraphs for awakening. But retirement is kind of where everything starts changing for me. So it's kind of like a 4-step every day. And I meet with a few guys every night at 8:30 every day. Very inconvenient. Very inconvenient. And I'm not sure that I really want to do it, but the Spirit was like, I go up on Wednesday nights and I teach, and I would meet with them and do retirement. Before that, the other days of the week, I do retirement by myself. So I'm basically going through my day, constructively review your day. Have you been resentful? Have you been selfish? Have you been dishonest? Have you been afraid? Do you owe an apology? What could you have done better? Do you have any secrets? You know, were you thinking of yourself most of the time? Were you thinking of others? Were you thinking what you could pack into the stream of life? It's just these series of questions that we ask. And, you know, what was your bright spot? Hey, you know, did God shine in your life today somewhere? What was, you know, the best part of your day? So what you're doing is you're going in and you're knocking off the good and the bad. You're giving all that to God. But you're doing that by telling somebody else also so you can get some feedback. You know, self can't see self.
Right.
Self-awareness does not happen unless I'm meeting with a few guys every day and going through my day. That's when self-awareness starts happening. And so about 6 months ago, the Spirit was like, hey, Corey, you need to start this. And so I was like, I'm going to call and tell on it. So I called my buddy Josh, and I was like, I don't know if I want to do this, but I'm just going to tell on it, because if I don't tell on it, I won't never say it again, and it won't happen. And so I told on it, and the next thing I know, we start meeting in the next week, and we've been doing it every day since. But the self-awareness in my life daily
Where is that list?
has exponentially grown. What's that?
Where is that list of retirement?
It's on the top of page 86 in the big book.
You only want to go ahead. Okay. Top of 86.
Yeah.
You have a PDF of the big book?
I do.
Page 86. Retirement questions.
Yep. And then the next 4 paragraphs are what they call awakening. And so
if you've never read the big book, me and some men just picked through it. And it was probably the best book I've read in 2025. Or I'm sorry, we read a version of it. I apologize. What was the name of the book we read? Do you remember?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, you're gonna ask me. I'm good.
Sorry. I'll find it and put a link in the section below.
Yeah, it's by Joe McHugh's the book we read. It is.
When we retire at night, we constructively review our day. Were we resentful, selfish, dishonest, or afraid? Do we owe an apology? Have we kept something to ourselves which should be discussed with another person at once? Were we kind and loving toward all? It goes a lot further, and I'm gonna put a snapshot maybe in the stream below. Ooh, yeah, in the stream below, I'll put the snapshot in there so somebody can source that really quickly.
Yeah, and so the book we read was Carrying This Message by Joe McHugh.
Yeah, that book was a short one. The big book is monster.
Yeah, but the what we asked the guys to read is the first 164 pages.
And it was delightful. And I'll tell you, one of the things that I discovered in that book is just the word powerlessness. You know, coming from a where I don't claim to be an addict, which 100% we all are designed to be in love and fully surrendered and overwhelmed by God. So it's like built into us to find something. Hopefully we find him. Otherwise, we're going to put something else in its place. But I never really claimed an addict as my identity. And lo and behold, man, I have all those same habits. And so powerlessness was this fun word that I was able to get from the book that opened me up to giving myself more to the Father, because I needed to give more to him to be more free.
Yeah. So
did all that make sense?
It does.
Okay.
So we're excuse me. We're all in recovery.
We are all in recovery.
If you know Jesus, you're in recovery. If Jesus has pulled you out of your grave, rescued you out of the muck and mire, and blew life into your bones, you're in recovery. You're in recovery from your old life. You're in recovery from what happened in the garden.
The old man.
You know, by definition, recovery, restoring something that, you know, was taken, lost, stolen. We're in recovery. And so go back to the garden, you know, Adam and Eve, they were separated from God in that moment where they ate from the tree. And so in that moment, that had to be back restored. And until Jesus came, he restored that. But until we ask him into our life, that's how we're living. We have this we're going to be selfish. We're going to be self-seeking. We're going to be dishonest people. You can say you're good and all that, but the Bible clearly states that we're all going to fall short. We've all sinned, and there is no sin greater than another sin. So, at the end of the day, we are stained, right? And
we're distant.
We're distant. We're
distant
stained before we have Jesus, and Jesus is going to come wash us white as snow.
Yeah,
and bring us back into relation with the Father. And so there's a life before that.
Amen.
And so we're in recovery from that life.
Yes.
That old way of thinking, all the old habits and these things. So I think most people in church, and probably gonna catch some flack for saying this, stop it like a step 3. I am powerless. I know Jesus can come in and save my life. Lord, I surrender to you.
Yes.
And that's it.
That's it.
That's all the work they're going to do. I'm not, but you can't have my money. But you can't have my Saturdays.
Can't have my food.
Can't have my food.
Can't have my Clint football.
Yeah. You can't have my, and so what happens, the same thing that happens with my men in recovery and women in recovery. It goes back to a step 1 problem.
Goes back to step 1.
God, you can have the drugs and alcohol, but you can't have this relationship over here.
You can't have me.
You can't have this relationship over here.
Yeah.
I'm not going to give her up. I'm not going to give him up. I'm not giving Tina or Kenny up. I'm holding tight over here to this relationship. And so there's pride. Or you can't have my money. You know what I mean? I'm going to do what I want to do with my money. Or you can't have this part of my life.
But that's my most exciting thing. Why would I give that up?
Right. And so
what's the answer, man?
that becomes an idol. And also,
why does that matter?
God is taking a back seat to that. And so when God's not first, when God's not center,
the center.
The center of it, it's going to be trouble.
Yeah, it's going to produce congestion, too fastness, voraciousness.
It's not going to produce fruit in your life.
And you're going to make it do things that it can't do.
Right. And then we start, living outside of the fruit of the Spirit, and these things will start showing up in our life.
What's funny is this is like really... But I remember when the Lord started convicting me over vacation.
Yeah. Wow.
And why are you going to indulge? Everything you have is yours now. Why is vacation bracketed time to indulge in everything? More sleep, more movies, more food, more drinking, more what if vacation was beautiful? And I was like, that probably would be better. What does that look like? And the investigation began.
Yeah. Right. I mean,
because I'm more tired at the end of vacation, but that means to me that I'm 100% not doing things that I'm designed to do.
Most likely.
I know.
And that's kind of things that we do. And at the end of the day, God convicts you of things. And for most of us, we don't listen. We just push it off to the side, and then life gets mundane. Life, we wonder why we don't have joy. We wonder why we don't have peace. And
I just need to do a different vacation, right?
It's because we're still enslaved over here. We're still shackled to these things. We're still in bondage over here, and we're not willing to do the work that it takes to break those chains, to release ourselves. Because He's willing. Are we willing to take those things to Him? And just like you said, being convicted about vacation, then you went and did the work. Then you started asking the questions.
Yeah, I did.
And a lot of it starts with prayer.
It did.
And journaling, hey, I'm just going to start asking these questions.
I looked in the pantry and I was like, are you talking to me about what's in the pantry? And he said, oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And so.
And I was like, well, can I look in the fridge? He's like, we can talk about that too.
Yeah.
I started eating salads like I said, it's just simple things. I think to vibrate more in light. That's what I'm thinking.
I agree.
Is eat a salad before every dinner, and I was like, okay, all right, that'll help curb the, what's a P word that would reflect an overindulgence in your dinner?
I don't know. I have to look up one.
Sorry.
Yeah. No, but yeah.
That's how he works, though, isn't it? Has he worked like that for you?
No, it's exactly how he works, but then I have to do the work.
Yeah.
And if I'm not willing to do the work, then what? We just forget about it, we blow it off, or we just keep doing what we're doing.
Yeah.
And then there is no growth. There is no...
man, I'm telling you, ain't that the truth?
Maturity. There is no freedom.
You just keep circling. Yeah. Were you there last Friday?
No, I was out. Yeah.
I got a little fired up, but anyway, go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just, yeah.
I'm super stoked about the book of James.
Oh my
It's my
gosh.
favorite book in the Bible. And once again, I think when I sat down, you were like, I like the hammer. I like, I like the hard truths. And, I like people to ask me and challenge me. I like being challenged, and the book of James challenges me.
You know what's funny is biologically, a boy child develops a lot of different complex things if the dad wrestles with him. Like there's this whole like cascade of biology in relationship to to the dad, a dad role, the physical body, the limitations of exertion. You know what I mean? The safety. There's all these safety things that happen in the wrestle.
Yeah.
And all that stuff happens exactly like what we're talking about too, as we interact with an issue that he's calling us to, and we develop so many different nuanced new selfnesses as he wrestles us, and we like I hold my son's arm down, and he's like, I can't get up, and he learns all these things about himself and me and what arms are, and the same is true when we yield to God bringing us to an issue.
Yes.
And it changes us. We become new.
Yeah, and it does. And it's never like, for me, it's never this big, huge thing. It's these little things.
This is so little
things.
All
these itty bitty little things. And then I look back and I'm like, wow, this one big thing feels like it's happened.
I know.
But it's just through a series of all these little things throughout, these nuances throughout every day. Every day.
It is
every day. Constructing this route, I don't want to say routine, but habits.
Just constructing a relationship.
Because I hate using the word routine because what happens, a lot of us, we'll get obsessed over a routine.
Yeah, it's you're developed a willingness to put your yes on the table with God.
Yes. And so like a lot of
and
cats,
that creates you.
Yeah, a lot of cats like, oh, if I don't get up and have my morning coffee, or if I don't get up and exercise, if I don't, and I just don't try to put that on God.
No.
So, and that's been difficult because I like doing certain things, and but am I going to be flexible? Am I going to be moldable for the Lord to do his will and his work when he says, hey, I need you to go over here.
Right.
I need you to go over here today at 4:30 and not go to the gym.
Yeah.
I need you to go over here today at 7 a.m. and not do your walk in prayer and your Bible reading. What does that look like? You know what I mean? When that moment happens for you. And so when that moment happens for a few days in a row, what does it look like?
Yeah.
And so, because there's so many ways to spend time with God. And so what's happened over the last 4 years is just developing this willingness just to spend time with him however I can.
Right. And like pay really particular, like I'm going to be, okay, here we go.
Mm-hmm.
He's saying, I don't want you speaking in groups anymore.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, I'm going to get my arm up. And he's like, no, I'm going to hold you down because I want to show you something.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no. This needs to be said. This truth needs to come out. This is the perfect time. And he's like, I want you to, can you leave your arm down?
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like, can you leave it down with no pressure and learn?
I get it.
I know you do.
Because I spent over the last few years.
You can learn from pain or learn, right?
Yeah,
what is the thing?
Yeah, you can learn from pain or through a teacher.
Through a teacher?
Yeah, through a teacher. And him hopefully being your teacher.
Oh, praise the Lord.
And so there's been months gone by over the last few years on Friday morning where I'm like, I'm just not going to speak. I'm
confessing this to you.
Yes.
I'm going to start looking at you like.
Yeah, there you go.
And you just look at me. And I'll just look at you. And you'll be like, I'm looking at you. And I'll be like, I'm looking back.
I see you.
And he's speaking to me.
I see you. That's what that's what you know is I see you. And so, I think it's great what happens on the other side of walking through the door with God on these things. It blows my mind.
What does that mean?
Because
what did you just say? Walking through the door. What does that mean?
Well, I mean, like, God's called you to do something and or be somewhere or go to some event or not speak in meetings or you know what I mean? Let's stay quiet.
Or
for the next
go
2
do
months.
one more trash load at the job.
Or one more trash load at the job. Or go just to one other house and check on one more thing. And everything in my body says, I don't want to.
Everything in your body says, I don't want to.
My mind, my spirit,
Is that
my
I think it's a
emotions.
song.
You know, everything says, nah, dog.
Nah.
I don't want to do that.
Uh-uh.
And then I go do it.
And then you go do it. And
And
you
man,
walk through the door of, yeah, my yes is on the table.
Of that uncomfortable, of that no desire, no will, no anything. And you know what? I'm just going to go do it. Because I'm going to go do it for you, God.
I'm going to go do it.
What happens on the other side of those moments always blows me away. Because it's always just something supernatural for me. There's just something happens, something gets revealed, something inside me gets revealed. Somebody shows up that I've never met that God's like, this is the next cat I need you to help.
That right there, there's so much of that where you realize my yoke is light.
Yes.
You realize the lightness. You experience the lightness on the other when you on the other side of the yes, on the other side of the obedience. After you walk through the door, you experience the breath of actually the labor that you do, that you execute on.
Yes.
It's like there's this like spaciousness that you step into this alternative reality of like, wow, what can't be done if I just go do what you say? It's like, oh, that was actually really easy. And like I'm being delivered like peace right now.
Well, I don't want to lie to anybody listening and say it's easy for me, because it's not. Uncomfortable is not easy at all.
But walking through the door.
But simple? Absolutely. Super simple. Super simple to do. But I would never say it's easy, because being uncomfortable is never easy.
Post walk through the door.
Oh man, like
His presence.
Yeah. Oh no. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. The after. The hindsight. The 2020. Yeah. All that is beyond.
It's weird.
It's supernatural for me. Is because it's somebody says something just what I need to hear. If somebody says something just like you just said, talking about yoke. I nerded out on the word yoke this morning. I got this whole thing on my phone. I'll show you when we get done.
Please share it.
But you know, it's just wild. And so, but what happens is God puts somebody in my path, or whatever it may be, and then you know this relationship or this thing blossoms from it, and now I'm back in His will, doing what He is wanting me to do because I obeyed. Sometimes it just boils down to obedience.
Oh,
and
that's like every time for me.
Obedience is like a dirty word for me. You know what I mean?
I know.
It's a word I don't like to hear.
It's so stinking stupid and narrow-minded.
Yeah,
to not obey.
I always grew up thinking I'm just I blow where the wind blows.
How small do I want to live?
Yeah.
Is really the alternative to obedience. I'm saying, you know what? I want to live as small as what I can come up with.
No doubt. Through obedience, my life has radically changed and radically grown.
Stupid, man.
And I am doing things today that absolutely blow my little noggin every day. And it's just through a series of being obedience. And it's not because I have to be obedient. It's not because the fact is the prodigal son took his inheritance, squandered it away, every cent of it, was living in a pigsty, crawled back home. He saw him a long way off, the loving father, and ran out and met him. Ring, robe, and you said shoes, big party, let's get it on. Like I'm not saying that you are forgiven. He does love you. He wants you. Yeah. He wants to bring you back in. Even if whatever you've done you think is too much, that's not true. The invitation is always come back. But what's happened through the obedience, this everyday relationship with Him, this everyday obedience, man, things have just become first class in my life, and it just blows me away. And my money ain't funny no more. You know what I mean? And it's growing in a way that only God could explain. I don't make a lot of money. I work for a nonprofit Christian ministry. I don't make big bucks. You know what I mean? And but my money is growing, and things. God's providing in all kind of ways, but He gets my first 10%. And I don't stop there. I give all throughout. I give in all kind of different places. But that first 10% goes to the storehouse. And so, when I started doing that and willingly doing that and wanting to do that, something changed in my heart. When my relationship got under His banner and I became obedient to Him in that, something changed in my heart. Something also changed in my relationship. It's like
the tool of money becomes truly a tool versus a master.
Correct.
Whereas like the wrench owns you.
Yeah, and just like a relationship.
You know what I'm saying?
When
Which would be
things-
stupidly weird.
Yeah, when things were my master in that relationship, which had been my master way before drugs and alcohol were my master.
Right.
That's not my master no more.
It's so weird to put ourselves in a relationship where things are our master. We do it, man. We were wild constructs created by God.
I'm telling you.
Oh, it's fascinating.
And what it is, we're meeting needs outside of God.
Yeah.
So what we're trying to do is accomplish meeting needs outside of God, and that's all. That's all any of it is. You know what I mean? We're trying to meet these needs, or fill a void, or take care of a feeling or a thought outside of God.
Yes.
And
outside of community.
And outside of community, and we can get very creative.
Yeah, and you're trying to make community be your vehicle for blah blah blah.
Yep.
When really community is a partnership of creative and adventurous living.
Correct.
You know?
Yeah.
The bridge is a what is the bridge? And how can people find the bridge and all that stuff?
The Bridge Center Recovery is a recovery, in-house recovery inpatient for men. It is a minimum of a 4-month program. You can find them online. I don't have their phone number. I think we can put all their information at the bottom.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful place. And so if you're struggling with drugs and alcohol, and you are a male.
What about porn? You have sex addiction stuff? Does anybody have that?
Yeah, so you have some groups for that. You do.
At the bridge?
I don't know if they just focus just on that at the bridge. I don't know if they take that in or not. I don't know why they wouldn't. You know what I mean? It's addiction's addiction. But, at the end of the day, there are some groups that you can get in for that, because about every dude that's in there has a porn addiction. I don't know one that don't.
You mean every dude?
Every guy. Yeah, well, maybe every dude, period. Especially today, the way it is, with phones and things like that.
Goodness.
Yeah, and so that was my first addiction. That's the one addiction that carried through all the other addictions that never went away. Even though as my drug and alcohol addictions changed through time, that addiction never went away. It never changed. It was a one steady addiction between that and sex addiction. Those are two of the things that rode true through the whole thing. And so that's why, in my life, that's the two big boundaries I have up. Is protecting myself from those things. So it's
Praise the Lord.
Yeah, but yeah, you got the Bridge Center and there's all kind of great places.
What about for girls? What's the environment for girls?
So you have Alabaster House, you have Shalom, are two places.
Lovewell Ministries.
And then Lovewell Ministries is starting up. They have a couple of houses right now, but they're trying to get an inpatient program started. And I don't know when that date arrives, but it's coming soon.
You know anything about that, Johnny? Any more Lovewell stuff?
No, I know they're a great organization. All those places that he mentioned are great.
Yeah. Do you know when the inpatient program's starting for them? Yeah,
I don't.
Yeah, so I know they got a couple of houses for people who have been through inpatient that you can stay at, but I know they're trying to work real hard at getting the inpatient process started. And that's in Anderson off Snow Road. Shalom's in Belton, and Alabaster is in Greenville. So yeah, all great places. Same thing. You have Legacy Homes too up in Pickens. It's a men's facility. Another wonderful place, and there's places all over the state. To be honest with you,
Stephen Sanders,
yeah.
Sir.
Stephen Sanders over there.
Yeah, Stephen Sanders, Legacy Home,
great guy.
Mm-hmm. You got the Oaks. We could go on and on. We could sit here and name places all day.
What about the recovery stuff? Share with the community just about like where they can plug in, what environments are like.
Yeah, so you can get on website and find about any kind of meeting, AA, NA, SA, SSA, things like that. But for what circles I run in, like New Spring Recovery, New Spring Recovery is every Sunday night open share at 6:00 at New Spring Church in Anderson. There's one every Tuesday.
What's open share?
Open share is a group of men and women who get together for an hour and have a chance to just share what's going on in their life. If they're struggling, if they're celebrating, it's also a good place if you've been sober for a while to meet people, to help people, because I didn't know how I was gonna stay sober until I started helping people. I really didn't. I didn't trust myself. I didn't, I knew that things were different and things were changing, but I was just like, how am I going to stay sober for the long term?
And so what changed?
Help my first guy.
What does that mean?
Well, the first guy I helped, I walked through the steps. I help guys in all kinds of different ways today, but
why did that change you?
Just going through that process, man. It was, I don't know.
Did it reteach the safety and the beauty of the process?
It does. I mean,
they too like learn, teach. I don't know what's that thing is. I don't even know.
Yeah. So yeah, you're talking about like
imprinted
reading, hearing,
yeah,
learning, teaching. Yeah. So, but yeah, it's not just that. It's the fact that we get to go out and give away something that was given to us freely.
Okay.
And I think it goes back to the process of love too, the love of God. And so for me, not just teaching the 12 steps, but teaching people about Jesus.
Right.
And not just through my words, but through my actions, and through my walk. A lot of times it's people see you from way off. You don't even know they see you, but they're watching you.
Amen.
Real closely.
Amen.
It ain't got nothing to do with what I say. Like
Right.
I get the opportunity to go around and preach and teach and do all these things. But there's been a lot of people come and say, man, I saw you from a long ways off. I was watching you. I knew if you could do it, that there was a chance I could do it.
Mm-hmm.
And then that started their process, and some of them are 2-3 years clean now. You know what I mean? And, we have relationships today where, that are different, but, they saw me from a distance. And so, but helping those people one-on-one, man, and it's a lot of things. It's giving up your time. It's going back through the process. But it also takes you back to where you once were. And just this reminder, this stark reminder. The first thing I think about is where I never want to be again.
I know, right?
The first thing that I thought in the morning is that brokenness, that hopelessness. You know what I mean? And who pulled me out of it, and who saved me, and then it just goes through this.
That is a good reminder.
It's
see the raw dishevelment,
man. Listen,
and you're like, oh, whoa, man, oh gosh, I remember that.
And the other thing is you get a front row seat to the chance of watching God work a miracle.
Amen.
And man, I have seen miracle after, because it's nothing I do.
Yeah.
It's all Jesus.
Yeah.
And it's all him, and it's watching him work. Like they get there and the feeling, the thought process, the look, and all the things that they don't want to be there, and they feel like crap, and their mind is probably thinking like, screw you, and all these things, and you know what they are. But, and then you see them a week later, a month later, 3 months later, 6 months later, a year later. And, I'm giving them a medallion and saying, hey, congratulations, man, and hugging them. And just to see the light in their eyes, and their families are up there and they're cheering for them. And all these things have been restored. But there's also new things in their life. And some of them are walking in their calling, or some of them are just now starting to figure out their calling, and some of them are on mission, and all these things start happening, and I get a front row seat to all this. And that's that, and then introducing people to Jesus. Those two things is my drug today.
Mm-hmm.
That is
the good news,
man. It's the good news of Jesus, and getting to spread that good news in different kind of ways, in different kind of forms, but knowing that all roads lead to Him.
Yes.
And so when we start talking about helping people, that's where it comes from. It's this joy that comes from it. It's just this excitement that I can't wait to see what God's about to do. And it's never about me. And the other thing, it takes it off me. So when I'm having a bad day, if I go help somebody, I quit thinking about me.
That's good medicine.
And all that bad stuff is gone away. And I have just taken the best medicine that you could ever take.
Yes.
Because I am outside of myself.
The Bible says those that refresh others refresh themselves.
That's right. That's right.
And
is that Proverbs?
I don't know, but
14:11?
For brothers and sisters out there, I think Corey hits on like the super fun point of that is that the Lord is pursuing you, and He has been in your business for a long time.
Yeah.
And He's showing you beauty. He's making you feel things right now, even about our conversation, which is evidence of the reality that He is. Because you're feeling there's sensitivity that happens when we hear beautiful storytelling and recovery stories, and that's Him actively in your life. And so like run towards that because it's beautiful and it gets more beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you for having me again.
And we're going to put you on the schedule in another 30 days. And we just started season 2, so we're back.
Great.
We're back. And if we can serve you guys in any way, I'll have a link at the bottom of all the stuff we mentioned. And then if people want to find you, what's the best way to get you?
Yeah, man, I got an Instagram. You can get on there. I'm not
There
on
you
any
go.
kind of the social media.
Get on the gram. What's your
you-
Instagram? Do you
No,
know it?
I don't.
I'll put the link at the bottom. Corey will give it to me.
I think it's 4 Shore Corey. The number 4 Shore Corey. Play on words. I think that's me. It's Corey Shore. Also, the third Thursday of every month at 6 p.m., New Spring Recovery at New Spring Church in Anderson in the Fuse Building. Like, if you've ever wanted to come something that is absolutely wild and fun and spirit filled and full of love and full of miracles and hope and good food, got salad and pizza.
Amen.
Got salad for the salad folk, pizza for the pizza folk. It's great preaching, great worship.
When is that again?
Third Thursday of every month.
Third Thursday of every month at New Spring Anderson.
Yep.
And then if we can serve you in any way, all of these respective nonprofits receive donations. And so any of you guys can give and support and encourage. If you have a family member that's in the throes, I'll tell you what, if you want to activate a service provider to point attention to them, one of the best ways to do that is to give to that provider, give to that nonprofit, knowing that those nonprofit employees might just text the person that you love so very much and begin to pursue them as just a partnership strategy to like fight darkness.
Yeah. Most of the guys that come through there are on scholarship. That means somebody paid the way for them to come through.
Yeah.
And also, if you have a giving heart or the ability to give, there's a lot of great nonprofits. I work for one called Calvary Home for Children in Anderson. We bring help, hope, and home to abused and neglected children in South Carolina. But we're not the only one. There's a bunch of them. You got Lot Project, Anderson Pregnancy Center, all kind of great places.
Yeah. So thank you guys for joining us today, and we will see you next episode.
Talking where